Jordan slipped a folded note into my coat pocket at the funeral, claiming he'd won after 5 years of silence. The paper was warm from his hand, the ink smudged as if he'd written it in a hurry. I unfolded it under the dim glow of the church's stained glass. Asterisk 5 years Alex. Bet you never thought I'd be the one standing tall. Asterisk my fingers tightened. Standing tall? The last time I'd seen him he'd been screaming in a parking lot, his voice raw with accusations. That was the night I finally walked away, my car skidding on wet pavement as I drove toward a future he swore I'd never have. The memorial service for our old friend Marco was supposed to be a quiet goodbye, not a battleground. The scent of lilies hung thick in the air, mingling with the sharp tang of polished wood and old grief. I'd barely recognized Jordan at first, his once sharp jawline softened, his hair shorter, his suit a little too tight across the shoulders. But the arrogance was the same, the way he carried himself like the world owed him something. He sidled up to me during the reception, his voice low, almost playful. Asterisk heard you've been busy. How's the new life treating you? Asterisk his smile didn't reach his eyes. That's when I saw her, Casey his partner, hovering near the punch bowl, her hands wrapped around a plastic cup like it was the only thing keeping her upright. Her dress was nice but rumpled. She looked exhausted. Jordan followed my gaze and his chest puffed up, as if her presence was proof of something. I could have played along, could have let him think he'd won. But then my daughter's laugh cut through the murmur of the room, bright and unguarded. Lily was across the room, her dark curls bouncing as she tugged on Sam's sleeve, pointing at the dessert table. Sam, my fiancé, grinned down at her, his free hand resting on the small of my back when I joined them. His touch was steady, familiar. An anchor. Jordan's face went slack. The note in my pocket suddenly felt like a joke. This is Sam, I said, gesturing between them. Asterisk, and this is Lily. She's 4. Asterisk I didn't say our 4-year-old. I didn't have to. The way Jordan's throat bobbed, the way his fingers twitched at his sides, he understood. Casey joined him then, her smile tight. Jordan's told me so much about you, she said, but her voice was thin. Up close, I noticed the shadows under her eyes, the way her nails were bitten to the quick. Jordan's arm snapped around her waist, possessive, but she didn't lean into him. She stood rigid as if bracing for impact. The room spun for a second. 5 years ago, Jordan had promised I'd never be happy without him. 5 years ago, I believed him, but now here I was watching my daughter press a stolen cookie into Sam's palm, his laughter rumbling as he pretended to scold her. Here I was whole. Jordan's jaw clenched. Didn't think you had it in you, he muttered, but the words lacked their usual venom. For the first time he looked uncertain. I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Then I remembered the nights I cried myself to sleep, the way he twisted my words until I doubted my own mind. The note in my pocket crumpled in my fist. I didn't do it to win, I said. Asterisk. I did it to survive. Asterisk he opened his mouth, then closed it. Casey's grip on his arm tightened, her knuckles white. Without another word, they turned and walked away. Jordan's shoulders hunched like a man carrying something too heavy. Later, I heard through Marco's sister that Casey was working double shifts at the diner, that their apartment was above a laundromat with thin walls and no heat. Jordan had a new job, but the pay was barely enough to cover the bills. They were drowning, and he'd been so busy trying to prove something to me that he hadn't noticed. Sam found me outside, the cold air biting at my cheeks. Asterisk, you okay? Asterisk he asked, his thumb brushing my wrist. I nodded, watching my breath fog in the air. The thing about moving on is that it's not about leaving the other person behind in the dust. It's about stepping so far into your own light that their shadow can't reach you anymore. That night, I tossed Jordan's note into the fireplace. The edges curled and blackened, the words dissolving into ash. And for the first time in years, I slept without a single thought of him.